She saw things from a very detail-oriented perspective, right? The little things mattered, focusing on being great in all aspects of your business.
I feel like I learned a lot from my mom. She worked multiple different jobs. She was working two different jobs, as a waitress, double shifts, and she'd work at night as a molecular biologist and run around. And I feel like I took a lot of things from her framework and just seeing kind of her discipline. What are some things that you took away from your mom? Because you made sure to mention that, so I'm guessing it's pretty significant.
Yeah, it really is. She's phenomenal. I mean, she's probably one of the most talented people I know, honestly, right? I think unfortunately, she underutilizes her skills just because of the season of life that she's in. But she's always the thing that I think I took away from her the most, right? I mean, cliche, the work ethic and all the stuff, right? But it's different. To me, it was the lens that you see business through. Um, and again, it's this typical cookie cutter mentality that a lot of people take. And again, right, to each their own. If that's how you want to approach it, and you want to big box things and stuff like that, that's fine. But that's not the approach that she ever took, right? She saw things from a very detail oriented perspective, right? The little things mattered. Um, Focusing on being great in all aspects of your business that translate to, in this regard, right? Your products, your training, your people, your ambiance, your atmosphere, things that most people stop about halfway, right? They're like, hey, we got a really cool atmosphere, but the products are just subpar, right? Those kind of things. She didn't do that. She spared no expense to make sure that the experience for the customer. I mean, as long as I can remember, every business that she's done, it's been like that. I mean, she's just really great in that. She's got a really great business mind and I'm not saying the numbers and stuff like that, right? I think some of that is learned behavior, but just her ability to adapt and create a business that sets itself apart is something that I think is a blessing and a curse that I've learned from her. I can't walk in anywhere without judging it,
Yeah.
judging it, right? Hopefully positively, but unfortunately, in most cases, some of the businesses I go to, it's just not the case. But she instilled that in me. My dad owns his own business too, and he's been doing it for years. He's a work ethic guy, right? That's a guy that he owns a carpet laying business. Extremely talented, sought after. He's been doing it as long as I can remember, and that guy just works, man. He works hard. He's where he needs to be. He works early and often and late and on the weekends, and he's built that way, right? And I don't know if he's been like that his whole life, but as long as I can remember, he's been an athlete. He's professional athlete, done a lot of great things that way. I think it translates into his business ethics, and so a lot of things. I lived with my mom, right? So she was my influence mainly, but my dad certainly was a hero to me in that way for sure.
That's great. That you struck a nerve there when you talked about like paying attention to the detail. Like one of the phrases in the military, I was in the military, was attention to detail is important. Now, I guess that's obvious, but it's something that Colin and I have gone through in the businesses that we've been building, because when you're the single or one of two people doing the work of a starting business, it's natural to pay attention to all the details because you're the only one doing it. And in all honesty, there's a lot less to think about than if you have 30, 40 employees and you're in a number of states or whatever. So I think the thing that's important to remind ourselves about, that's awesome that your mom taught you this, is that no matter where you're at in your growth perspective or in the business, make sure that you're always paying attention to the details. Treat the business the same way you did the first day that you owned the business. And I think that will actually reap great rewards. So that's awesome she taught you that. I can imagine that actually really helped set you apart on the coffee business too, because you're right, there are so many, I'm not going to name any names, but there are plenty of coffee shops that are just like, it's just, I guess I'll get it because it's quick. It's a coffee shop. I can expect mediocre coffee right there. It's the same. They don't really care, but it is pretty consistent. Kind of like cheeseburgers you can get from other places that I won't name names. But if you put a lot of work into it, if you put a lot of attention to the detail and make it something unique, I think it's a lot better for the consumer and obviously better for the business. So that's awesome your mom taught you that.